It's really what I realized that, oh my gosh, we got a problem. We have a very serious problem here. They're embarrassed of who they are.
The new economy is entrepreneur-centric. We live in a world where challenging the status quo is the norm. Doing things as they have always been done is no longer in vogue. My name is Jordan Bunch. As a filmmaker, lifelong learner, and fellow entrepreneur, I'm always on the hunt to learn from the pioneers at the front lines of innovation. The people I meet are blazing new trails and shifting paradigms on their lifelong adventure of building and growing their businesses. Join me as we explore the journey of today's Mavericks. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mavericks Show. I'm your host, Jordan Bunch, and today we have a mother and daughter duo. I'm so excited to have Yolanda and Celicia with us today, who have a really exciting story about the nonprofit that Yolanda created many years ago. Thank you all for coming on today.
Oh, pleasure.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to be here. So thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. Well, I've got two little girls and a boy, but my girls are both in dance. They are almost 6 and almost 4. In fact, my 4-year-old, almost 4. She turns 4 tomorrow. Aww. But they're big dancers.
And see, that's good that you do, because you'd be surprised what dancing does to the child.
Oh,
extremely positive.
Absolutely. As we were recording this, yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, so I was teaching them my very rudimentary salsa skills.
I'm sure you did just fine.
Well, they think I did. I don't know how you guys would think I did, but according to the 6 and 4-year-old standards, I can cut a rug.
That's great.
So give me just like the overview for the listeners who are watching this and don't have any idea what you guys are up to.
Okay, folklorico dancing. Folklore, it is something from the people, and of course dancing. So it's dances from the people. What I teach is Ballet Folklorico, or Danza Folklórica Mexicana, meaning it is the Mexican folk dances. And I love it because it's just a big combination. Yes, it's about dancing, but it's about history. It is about developing so many skills. It is so beautiful when you see the children go out there and perform, and they just shine. So when you combine all of those, oh my gosh, it's just absolutely beautiful. So, and the thing is, this is for the students. Now for the audience, I tell the people about where these dances came from, what that dance is about, which influence did that dance come from. So now we're not talking just about, quote, Mexican folk dances, because this dance actually will include an influence from so many other countries. So history plays a major, major role in this. Mm-hmm. So it is something that, what a better way to learn all of this history and all these extra things that you can learn by dancing.
And that's how the Round Rock Ballet Folklorico got started, right? Mm-hmm. She saw a need in her community here in Round Rock, and she wanted to bring confidence, to the young Mexican-American culture, and really provide where everything originated from and why, and tie all of that into dance. And it's been amazing to see her I remember I was 5 years old when she started it, and I looked at her and I was like, what are you doing? I didn't understand the reason behind it. Mm-hmm. And during that time when she created the Round Rock Ballet Folklorico, she was also a school bus driver for Round Rock ISD. And during that time, she drove for kids, and she would pick up on the lack of confidence that some of these young students had. And the culture piece was, kind of missing. So I think going back to what she stated on the why she does this, it really ties in, and seeing the students start. You take students as young as 3-4 years old, all the way up to adults, such as myself, has been really cool to see the different phases.
To see them flourish, to see them grow up. And the most rewarding thing is when I see them after they graduate and they go away to college. And I'll be at the store, and all of a sudden somebody comes running, Miss Sanchez! And it's like, wow, wait a minute. And it is the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful feeling.
I bet you were quite the bus driver.
Oh yes, that's one of the things is like it's one of the things that I was learned since I was little. Whatever you do your best. Give it all you got. And I quickly realized that those students were the first ones to see me going to school. So I need to make sure that they were put in a good mood as they were coming out the bus. I need to make sure that they were in a good place to go and learn.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I had loved working for the young people. And they will look at me like, why are you so happy? And I'm going, hey, today's a new day. And then, of course, when we have new students, they will come in. And, of course, I will always ask them, okay, what is your name? And it was kind of, very surprising, actually, when I would hear them saying Salacer, Rodriguez, Hernandez, and I'm going, oh, Hernandez, such a beautiful name. And they will look at me like, where did you come from? and I told them, I said, and I would make sure, of course, that they get into school safety was my main concern. But whenever we have to, need a couple of seconds and we have to wait, I'll make sure that I talk to my students. Hey, how are you doing? Or where were your parents from? I would take the time to get a little bit of input from them. And it's really what I realized that, oh my gosh, we got a problem. We have a very serious problem here. They're embarrassed of who they are. And I kept on thinking, how can I help? I couldn't have them with me, talking all this time. So how can I help? The only way that I knew how was through dancing. And it just so happens that the priest at St. William's, Father Lewis, asked me, Yolanda, I heard that you used to dance when you were younger. How do you feel about just putting one dance together? And I said, okay, let's do it. Let me go ahead and ask some of my students and some of the young people see if they were allowed to participate. And I was shocked because they jumped at it. And every once in a while, I would meet a young person that they will look as, what are y'all doing, And once I got to talk to them and explain to them, they would end up joining my group. So it's just beautiful.
I'd have to say for me, it's been an eye-opener. As a young kid, I wasn't originally a part of the dance group. I would just tag along with my mother because that's what I wanted to do, and she didn't have anywhere else to put me. So I'd tag along and I'd sit in the corner by myself and just watch her do her thing and keep myself occupied coloring or reading. But then one day she asked me, she was like, or she didn't ask me, I take that back. She goes, how do we do this step to her students? And nobody could remember. And so I was like, I know how to do that step. So here I come, put my crayons and books up, and I'm like, Mom, this is how you do it. And she looked at me in awe, and she was like, really? You know how to dance this particular footwork that I'm trying to teach my students? I was like, yeah. And she's like, you've been paying attention this whole time? And I was like, uh-huh. And so from that point on, I was like sold because I got invested and not asked upon to come and show this step to the students, but she was just asking, and I was like, I know how to do it. Let me show you guys. And so,
I love that.
I proceeded to say, wait a minute. I went into the music and said, okay, let's dance it. And to my dismay, I realized that she knew the whole dance. And so it taught me, as I'm constantly learning from my students, from the young people, it's like, I did not realize that children that small really would pay attention.
I love that story. As a dad of 3, it's like something I'm always thinking about is, what are their hopes and dreams and aspirations are going to be, and trying to help them to try new things and have new experiences. At the same time, not like push them into like my preconceived ideas about what they should do and what they should be and what they should be interested in. And it's an interesting sort of dance to have as a parent to encourage your kids to try new things, but also, give them the freedom to be themselves. And it sounds like that's kind of a beautiful example of how that came to be in your life.
And what's also really cool is that with my mom, I never understood why she was a bus driver, right? And I asked her, I was like, why did you become a bus driver? And she was like, so that way I have all the time to spend with you. Instead of being at an 8-to-5 job, I could drive you to school. I could take you on field trips. I could take you, to your sports activities. And I was like, wow, I never understood it, but it was so cool to have my mom be our bus driver when we'd go on field trips and cross country. She would drive for us to our meets, and all my friends loved having her because they knew that she was my mother. And as you could clearly see, she has a bubbly personality. And it's just addicting to be around her because she brings so much passion into what she does. But more importantly, with her students and teaching Folklorico, you could ask anybody who's ever seen her do a live performance. She really dives into the history before she presents a song and a dance. And so the students really understand the meaning of, why is this color ribbon on my skirt? Why am I wearing this particular headpiece? For the guys, why am I wearing this particular hat? Or why do I have this tie? There's a meaning behind all of it. And when she teaches, she doesn't just say, oh, okay, show me the footwork. Did you learn it? No, she's like, okay, why? Tell me the why, so that way you understand. So if somebody in the audience afterwards, after the show, were to pull you and be like, oh, that was really great job that you did. What is it that you're wearing and why? As a student, you would be prepared, and that you're not dancing just to dance. You're dancing because you have a more understanding of the culture behind it.
I love that. I love how we're shifting the language in our country from melting pot to salad. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard the salad piece.
I think it's beautiful because the melting pot's kind of all these things just sort of blend together, but the salad, it's there are these unique different aspects of a salad. We have various types of greenery and tomatoes and peppers and carrots and all these different things that are unique in and of themselves, and they enhance the overall flavor and taste and look and texture and everything of it. And so I think it's so important that as a country that we don't just sort of blend in and just kind of become this one mesh thing, but we lift up and support and celebrate the vast array of cultures that we have and the diversity that we have, because we can easily lose those things. So that's beautiful.
That's something that I'm a firm believer of this. A lot of people have asked me in a couple of words, how would you describe the Mexican folk dancing? My answer is a bouquet of flowers, because of the same thing you just now said. It is all the different influences from different countries. They have come in together. And we try to keep them as much as we can, as to how our ancestors did. And once you combine everything together, it's just the most beautiful bouquet. And there's something that I tell my students, learn to recognize that, I tell my audience, when you see these dances, guess what? 10 to 1, this is part of your history as well. Like Oaxaca, when you get really into learning all the different dances, you're talking the different styles. My gosh, you're talking about thousands and thousands. And I'm so happy that your daughter's taking that, because as a dancer, you also have to think outside the box all the time, okay? Yes, you have your choreography, which the student has to learn, of course, besides the steps. Then you have to learn how to do your body movement. And if you're a girl, how you're handling your skirt. Guys, where do your arms go? And so their little minds are constantly working. It's okay, I have to remember, here are my steps. Oh, wait a minute, my arms. Wait a minute, the upper torso. Okay, am I supposed to be smiling? Okay, no, I have to smile this time. So there's so many little things in there that it takes place. So I look at the kiddos, and the parents actually come up to me and they'll tell me, oh, you know what, my daughter or my son, their grades are going down. Oh no, that's not allowed. Because, and I'll go up to the student and I said, you have shown me how intelligent you are. By you just being here, I know what you can do. They'll tell them, okay, no more folklorico classes. And believe me, the grades go up immediately. Yeah. So they use the tool, and like I told the parents, please do so. Whatever it is, we expect a lot from these kiddos because I know what they can do. I remember when I was teaching them this dance, they looked at me and go, oh, miss, it's too hard. We cannot do it. I said, I'm sorry. Did I hear the word that we are not supposed to say? Can't is not in my vocabulary, sorry. And I said, let's go back again, guys. You guys can do it. You guys can handle it. Well, when I took them to competition this year, they got a perfect score, 100.
Wow.
By 3 different judges. So it's like, oh my gosh. That was, and of course,
a proud moment.
Yes, it is. And again, I could tell them, see how bright you guys are. I mean, they amaze me.
And kind of going back to your statement earlier is like, we have so many different cultures in our community. And I think that's one of our biggest things that excites me for the Round Rock Ballet Folklorico is like, how could we be a part of that? How could at least we educate the community of what is Mexican folk dancing? What does our culture look like? So we started a couple of events that we put on here in Round Rock. One of them was the Summer Culture Fest, which we kind of put on hold for now. But we would bring in a variety of different dance groups from different cultures. And they would come and they would perform, and we would, advertise it for the public, and it would be free that they would come to the Preet Plaza, Sharon Preet Plaza, across from the Round Rock Library, and just really embrace the performances and learn what it is through those dances from various cultures. And then one of the other ones that we really thought was important to put on was Dia de las Madres, which is Mother's Day. Because in our culture, we celebrate it, with folklorico dancing, with mariachis. And so during our events, we get sponsors and they donate, free family photos, where you could come with your family and take a really nice professional photo, and immediately you get it right there on the spot.
Cool.
And one of the things that really touched our hearts was there was this one family who brought clothes with them, like their Sunday church clothes. And they were just in regular clothes, and they said, to their children, okay, let's go to the Round Rock Library and let's change so we could have a really nice family photo. So this was their one opportunity for this family to take a really nice photo and have it and cherish that. And right there, I told my mom, I said, this is why we do it. It's to really be here for our community and provide for them to come and to get something for free that they could enjoy. And we're very blessed with our, the arts, the support of our city, Parks and Rec. We live in an amazing community where they support the events that we're doing, which then led us into putting on what we call Dia de los Muertos, which is Day of the Dead.
Right.
And when we first put it on, we thought, okay, we'd have 300 people who would show up, right? The first year we had 3,000 people.
Oh my
and
goodness.
So we were just like overwhelmed, and we said, okay, we totally outgrew the space, right, that we hosted it in. And so now we put it on at the Centennial Plaza, right over here in downtown Round Rock, and now we get over 12,000 to 15,000 people.
Goodness gracious.
And it's so cool to see all different types of cultures come out and embrace and understand why it is that we celebrate Dia de los Muertos. It's not just to come and paint your face and dress a certain way or have altars displayed. No, there's a meaning behind it. And so the beauty of it is, I'll tell you a story. My husband was a little skeptical about, I don't want to put up an altar for my father. His father passed away when he was 11, and I said, no, I think you and your sister should do it. I think it'd be really cool. And my husband didn't do it the first 3 years, but the fourth year he did it, and he put an altar up there of his father, and he pulled me to the side and he goes, I'm so glad I did it, because now all these other people are stopping and looking at what I have of a display for my father, but learning. And these people were taking pictures in front of his father's altar. And he was like, and for that, it makes me even appreciate it more, because he's never going to be forgotten, because some strangers just took the time to learn about my father based on the things I've displayed. It's been a really passionate effort with the dance group, but more importantly, my mother, because she has a vision and she has, dreams and aspirations. And so just to walk alongside her and see those over the course of, years, going on, 32 years now, I think?
Yes.
Something like that. It's been true, that's the best gift I've received, is just seeing her fulfill but yet touch so many lives.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So many great things in our life are born out of some level of pain, or seeing some kind of a pain in the world. So talk to me about the things that you were seeing in the kids and what that did in your heart that moved you. I know you talked about the priest had encouraged you to do this one dance, but that progressed further. But so much of it, I think, was born out of what happened inside of your heart for these kids.
As I was growing up, and needless to say, I was 3 years old when I started dancing. I fell in love with the Mexican folk dancing. And I remember my first performance. My mother, I was very sick. I had 103 fever. And I was determined to go and perform. So I got up in my bed and I started going out the door. And my mother stops me. She says, where are you going? I said, I'm going to go and perform, Mom. Wait, I forgot. Anyway, so I'm just once I have something in my mind, I'm going to do it, period. Dancing was always part of the curriculum. And when we had, once a month, we would have performances. So the school did not have enough money to have a dance teacher there all the time. So what they did, they would hire somebody to come in and they teach the dances, and then 2 or 3 girls, mostly the time were girls, that we learned the dance, and then our job was to teach the rest of the students. And then next month, the teacher would come in and he would check everything, make sure that we're doing it correctly, and then he will correct whatever little thing had to be, and then we'll perform. And let's just say, I love dancing. I mean, dancing in history. Oh, I love it in the end. And so I was picked. Every year I was picked to be one of the 3 people that learned the dances. And so they have, oh my gosh, we learned from Jalisco. That's the one with the big skirt, the very long skirts and wide and lots of ribbons. But one of the dances, this particular state, the state of Veracruz, was my favorite. Veracruz is when you dress all in white. Again, the skirt is extremely wide, lots of white ribbons. I mean, it goes so many things into being the full attire that my parents could not afford. Because at the time, everybody that danced had to buy their own outfits. So I remember this particular year really putting this beautiful dance out. And it was La Bamba. And as I did, the young lady and the young man that were doing it, they're doing a beautiful job. But, oh God, I mean, I made sure that when they went out there, they were going to do a heck of a job. But it hurt. It hurt because I wanted to do it. I mean, she did it beautiful, but hey, I'm sorry, I could do it better, much better. But we could not afford the outfit, extremely expensive. And I remember that time saying something like, if I ever have a dance group, my students will never have to worry about where their outfit is going to come from. I will make sure to provide all of that. Again, I saw the young people needed that in their lives. My tool that I had was dancing, so I combined them together. That I made sure that when I put my student out there to dance, they don't have to worry about, do I have to spend money on my attire? Because we, our organization, buys everything. Because you right, the pain, it hurts so bad. And I did not want none of my kiddos to say, I want to dance, but I don't have the money to buy outfit.
But I think that's where she saw the pain, and as a board member, you know, we talk with her a lot, and we're like, okay, well, if we want to try to get to this level, we might have to increase dues. And she was like, I'm not going to increase dues because I want every student to afford to take my classes. And I know sometimes as board members we don't see eye to eye with her, but she's a very strong believer in that. And so it came to a conclusion for the board members, like, okay, we won't fight you on that. We understand. So we as board members need to jump on your bandwagon and make sure that we're able to provide for every student. And I think over the course of the years, you know, she's been successful in doing that. So.
Yes. And one of the things I told her, I said, I will never turn a child away because he or she do not have the money to pay the monthly dues. And so far we have been blessed. Somehow we have enough money for the outfits. I was worried about because of the coronavirus. How am I going to be paying for this studio, and there's no money coming in? The community, they are amazing. I reached out to them and they all responded so beautiful. I want a home there, so when this is all lifted, my children will be able to come home, and they know that the studio is going to be right there for them.
Growing up in that environment and you know, learning from the lessons that you did through dance and through your mom, it propelled you to different things in life. What kind of things happened in your life that caused you, even in your adult years, to realize this is worth giving my time to?
You know, growing up and seeing my mom always volunteering and never turning down performances when the city or different community organizations reached out to her and said, hey, could we get the Round Rock Ballet Folklorico to come and perform? And we don't have any money to pay you to perform, but will you come out and perform? She'd be like, yeah, I'll come and perform, and we'll get our kids and you don't have to pay us. And I'm like, what? That makes, you know, all these other dance groups get paid to come and perform, but yet you're doing this out of your time and the children and the students to come out and dance. And so seeing that over the growing up, I saw the dedication and how important it is to give back. And so even when in elementary, middle school, and high school, and college, and afterwards, and as an adult, I've always wanted to serve on various boards and be involved in nonprofit organizations because I feel it's imperative to give back. I saw my mother do it, and I saw how many smiles and joy she brought to other people's lives. And to me, that's priceless. That's I get on why she didn't need to get paid. And so I'm like, how could I do just that? And that's what I did. I wanted to be a part of the board. Prior to about 2.5 years ago, I would still dance. So when I have time, I do go back and I'll still dance, or I'll still teach our main dance company. And it's embedded in me. It's in my blood. And so even, I know this might sound crazy, even though I haven't been dancing as actively as I like to the last 2.5 years, when I go to performances and I watch the students perform, and she has her grandson and even her granddaughter and even her great-great-granddaughter dancing, and I'm watching this, and I look at her and I see the joy in her eyes, and I look at my, nephew and niece, it just brings tears to my eyes, because I'm like, this is embedded in our family. And this is what makes us who we are, and we take pride. But it's not just to our dance group. We go and we take that pride and that giving back attitude to everything that we do in our community. And for that, all of our students in our community are better off, because they see my mentor right here doing this. And I think right there, like I said, it's priceless. So,
and the beautiful thing is that to see those students out there for their pride. I mean, it's just like they go on there, like I tell them, the minute you are on that stage, the area, that is your time. And you see that in the students. You see the confidence that they have. They do not know the word, I can't do it, or I'm embarrassed, or I don't feel confident. That's not in their vocabulary, because when they come and they enjoy us, they know exactly what I expect out of them. And if they don't have it, it is my job to teach it to them, to see to where they are just blossoming. And it is the most beautiful thing. So
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Somebody out there is watching this right now and thinking about the thing that they're passionate about. And for that person, it might not be dancing. It's something else. But they have a dream in their heart, something that they're deeply passionate about, and that would be a nonprofit, something that's giving back. What would you say to that person who just has the dream in their heart, the thought in their mind, but hasn't done anything to make that happen? What would you say to them?
I'm a firm believer that God gave everybody a gift. And you'll know when you get this, because you'll develop that passion. Go for it. Go for it. Because it will not be a job that you're doing. That it will be the most beautiful thing that will happen. It will change you drastically as a person. You will be filled with love. So don't just release it. Go for it. You touch so many lives in a very positive manner. So follow your passion.
Yeah. There's something really magical that happens when somebody's deep passion and gifting meets the world's great deep need. That sparks just fly.
Never be afraid. And by that I mean, I remember when I was in high school, the first year that I arrived here in Round Rock, they had a talent show. And immediately, I'm going to go and sign up. And everybody looked at me, and you're going to do what, Yolanda? I said, yeah, I want to participate in the talent show. But you're Mexican-American. Now, remember, we're talking back in the 1963. And I said, okay, I'm sorry. I'm me, that's it. I see myself as a human being, not as American or Mexican or any other race. I'm me. Yeah. And I love dancing. Why not? Well, we've just never done it. Well, I'm going to do it. And I remember participating on that. People looked at it, it's like, wow, that was something totally different that nobody had ever done here in Round Rock.
Yeah.
Not even in Austin, but definitely not here in Round Rock. And the same thing when I participated for Miss Round Rock. They looked at me, they're going, don't do that. You know, we never had a Mexican American. It's like, no, wait a minute. I'm not going to put barriers that I'm going to be afraid and not going to cross them. I love that, and I want to be able to do it. I want to be able to see as many people participate. I don't care what their background is. If you feel like you want to participate, go for it. And I did not win Miss Round Rock, but I won Miss Personality, okay?
I believe that. No doubt in my mind.
So, and that's why I'm just so thrilled with that when Dr. Russell and Mr. David Carlin from Round Rock ISD, Round Rock High School, asked me to teach. So they were thinking about opening a folklorico class in Round Rock High School. Well, they came out to me. They said, Yolanda, will you be interested? Well, heck yes. Where do I start? And again, it's so beautiful to see the folklorico classes that they're still, up to right now, they're still doing it, and it's so beautiful. So don't be afraid. You can do it. You can do it.
If there's somebody in Round Rock who's watching this and wants to get involved, whether it's because they want to go dance, or whether it's because they want to give to your studio so that others can have the gift of dance, so where do we need to send them?
To learn more about the dance group or to donate, please check out our website at roundrockballetfolklorico.org.
And remember, we're a 501c3, which I take great pride in that. As a matter of fact, I believe we're the third oldest nonprofit organizations here in Round Rock.
Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know y'all, and I told you whenever you came here in the door, you can't tell you're watching at home. We're sitting about 20 feet away from each other here because of this whole coronavirus. And I told you when you came in the door, it pained me not to give you hugs, but it does even more once you leave here after getting to hear more of your story. So thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for sharing with our audience. It's just been a pleasure to get to know you and get to hear your heart and your passion.
Well, thank you for allowing us to share our
Thank
story.
you. And we love you, Round Rock. You know that.
Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Mavericks Show. Definitely be sure to hop on over to their website, like this video, click subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and we'll see you next time.